population of people on the webinar here. So I'm going to shut off my webcam so none of you see me jumping around, getting excited about funnels. But just a real quick introduction. My name is John Yorkin from Realvolve. I'm the Vice President of Marketing here, and I'm really excited to have you join me on this webinar. I'm looking forward to sharing my thoughts with you today. This is one of my favorite topics, funnels. And I'm going to talk a lot about real estate funnels from a very high level to also the treetop level, and then diving down into the weeds. And this is all for helping you understand funnels in a way that can impact your business. So again, I just want to make sure my sound's working and everyone can see the rocket ship on the screen. Great, thank you so much. All right, so let's get started. What I'm going to try to do is present a very straightforward way on what a real estate business could look like as a sales and marketing funnel. Give you some tips on how you find some key blockage points, and finally show you how to understand the dynamics between microfunnels and processes that you can set up and how they can help you grow. And for those of you that stick with us at the end of the webinar, we'll be providing you a code for a free premium workflow for your account. For those of you that are in trial, we're going to give you an opportunity to actually meet with our sales team, give you an email, send out an email on how you could do that. And for those of you that haven't started a trial, we'll give you access to start a free trial, free 14-day free trial, no credit card required. But let me talk about this workflow. Get the sales pitch kind of out of the way here. What you're going to be getting is what we call our 3 lead response workflow. So it's 3 workflows, 15 templates. We usually charge $2.99 for this, and we're going to give this to you for joining us today for your time. Basically, it's a workflow that's set up for lead response for sellers and buyers you meet at an open house, holiday parties, etc. And it also includes a seller follow-up workflow for any web or inbound leads, which is important because we're going to talk a lot about inbound leads. And inbound leads are something that these leads are coming in through a landing page, your website, etc. But before we dive into funnels, just a little bit about me. I'm married. I have 2 boys. Right there, Aiden is 11 and Colin is 9. He just turned 9 on Monday. And they're fully submerged into ice hockey like I was as a kid. And if I'm not at the rink, I myself am submerged into marketing. I previously worked in the pharmaceutical world where processes were essential. You have inputs, you put them into a process, and you get an output. That output was actually tablets and biologics. And I realized that I can make a bigger impact on the world, and I was more intrigued about marketing and sales than anything. So about 15 years ago, I just decided to take this big step into marketing, complete career change. And during my time at General Electric, I saw this dynamic shift in marketing and essentially watched, learn, and began to grow with this new wave of inbound, digital, social, and behavioral marketing. You know, what would drive people to click on a button? What would drive people to purchase? What behaviors were they showing us? And was everyone the same? Or could we segment them a different way? So marketing's changed drastically. And instead of focusing on being a distraction to people, I really realized that potential customers were shifting to finding knowledge, finding solutions to their problems. So marketeers have to adjust how they're marketing rather than being a distraction. Since then, I've been on this constant journey of understanding the marketing and sales process and asking questions like why some leads convert different than others. So let's take a look at typical, what I call high level real estate funnel. You have the front end, or also known as the top of the funnel. These are the folks that you just met at an open house, or they actually clicked on one of your listings on Facebook, or filled out some brief information on your website or a landing page, or what they call now a squeeze page. These contacts will then travel through your funnel, which is called the mid funnel, at different rates. That's very important to maybe make a note of that. Different rates. Different leads are going to convert different ways. And not a lot of people understand that. So these contacts will travel through your funnel at different rates and finally buy or sell buy a home from you or sell their home. Hopefully with you, that's for sure. And then the process of the back end funnel can start, which is going to be your repeat and referral business. But what's really, really interesting, and one of the things that I absolutely love about funnels is that they're driven by very, very simple math. The math that we're looking at, or what you could be looking at, are 2 variables, not 50 variables. Of course, based on your goals, you might have other variables, but in most cases, there are 2 important variables. The 2 very important variables you need to look at are how many contacts you are putting at the top of the funnel. So my arrow is here. This is the top of the funnel. And then basically, what is the conversion rate of those contacts through the funnel? My mouse is not working here. Okay, so basically, you have all these leads, prospects, suspects at the top of the funnel coming in. And it's more of a quantity play. So you're just pouring people into the top of the funnel. So if you have 100 contacts from an open house and you convert one of them to a customer, your conversion rate on this funnel, on this type of lead source, of an open house lead source, is then 1%. And this is pretty cool that we can define and drive your whole business or our whole business around one simple model and 2 variables. I think that's amazing. I mean, I really do, but I'm privy to funnels. So again, very excited about this stuff. So let's look at our first goal. Again, it's a very basic model of math that we can look at with various leads that you're getting. And if you understand this funnel well enough, you can establish a solid process that will move your contacts through each level of the funnel based on the lead source or other factors. But one cool thing I want to share, and throughout the presentation, you're just going to start to see Realvolve tips. We're also going to do a quick exercise, which is going to be a lot of fun. But one thing we want to share with you is that Realvolve is actually set up in a way that creates this more targeted funnel versus a very high level funnel. So we classify in Realvolve suspect to prospect to lead to client and past client. So what we're going to be talking about today is giving you tips on how to help move people through those other stages. And I'm really excited about talking and sharing those items with you. But one thing is certain, you can't come to a Realvolve webinar, whether it's with me or Dale Warner, you can't come to a Realvolve webinar without hearing about some metrics. We're very metric focused here at Realvolve. So let's get it out of the way now, all right? If you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. And with funnels, it's pretty simple math, like I was saying. So here's an example of key funnel metrics that I actually look at. So this is very high level for Realvolve, all right? And hopefully this will inspire you to kind of take a different look or rethink your funnel and conversion rate. So I'm mainly responsible for demand and lead generation here at Realvolve. So I build marketing and retargeting campaigns to drive visitors to our landing pages or our website. From there, we try to provide solutions for our visitors to sign up for a free trial. So you see the trials, that would be your free trial. We then work the middle part of the funnel to move those trialers, we call them trialers, not trailers, trialers, to close deals and customers that have found the right CRM for their business need. So this is the first variable I was speaking to before. However, the second variable is looking at conversion rates or percentages for each stage or every stage of the funnel. And you want to track this over time. So for example, let's look at some simple math. We have 1,000 visitors that come to Realvolve, just theoretically. And 40 of those people sign up for a free trial. And over time, 12 of those trialers turned into closed deals for us. So handy dandy calculator, some quick math. The conversion rate from visitors to trials is 4%. From trials to closed deals is 30%. However, if you look on the funnel there, you'll see an overall conversion for this type of funnel of 1.2%, which is actually low. So again, this is a theoretical example to give you kind of some perspective on moving people through the funnel. But here's another Realvolve tip. What we've observed and what I'm finding in the real estate industry, not all lead sources are equal. So take a look at the two different funnels in front of you here. But when you do this, when you start to break it down to conversion percentages, you start to see that different leads convert in different ways. So for instance, we may be using Google AdWords, which we do here at Realvolve, for one funnel that has a higher conversion rate of moving people from visitor to trial, whereas Facebook ads are presenting a much wider top of the funnel, but are showing that the trial conversion to a customer is much more successful. And I'll show you why. Is that if you can see my mouse, this is more of your typical funnel, but it gets really scrunched down here. We're going to talk about why things get scrunched down here. Whereas Facebook ads, much wider top, a little bit bigger, or sorry, a narrower trial to customer conversion. And it looks like the Facebook ads, if you want to do, return on investment for marketing campaigns, it looks like Facebook ads are presenting more of an opportunity to optimize those types of campaigns. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves in conversion rates, I want to share with you some research I found while I was creating this presentation. National Association of Realtors produces some cool statistics around home buyer and seller behaviors. And I thought this was interesting, that basically 63% of sellers found their agent through referral and 25% used their previous agent. So this is really pointing at repeat and referral business. But again, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. It only leaves mainly about 10% of your leads left up to the rest of your marketing efforts. So for sale by owner, farming, open houses, etc. So lead to closing conversion rates for all other types of leads for marketing, it is a very small percentage. But what about those web leads? We always hear about web leads here in the office. But what's really interesting, the average web lead conversion rate in the real estate industry is less than 1% of your top of funnel leads that will convert to a customer, which is something that makes you want to pause a moment in our day and age of digital marketing, right? Everything should be digital. Everyone's searching for a home online nowadays. And then me being who I am, that is interested in the why. I mean, the majority of people looking for a home aren't really driving around neighborhoods anymore, like my parents did when we found a house when I was 6 years old. So real quick story, every Christmas Eve, we get to open one of those presents. You know, my mom would always kind of put those presents like in front, like you can only open these presents, right? And what they were, these presents for my brother and I, before we got into a house, we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, and my mom and dad actually slept on the pull-out couch so that my brother and I could sleep in the same bed in the apartment. Long story short, we needed a bigger house. So every Christmas Eve, we get this one present, open that present, and it was pajamas. And these were always the most comfortable pajamas. And then we always knew, jumping in our pajamas, we're jumping in the car, and we're going to drive around neighborhoods and look at the Christmas lights. And what my mom was doing was actually looking for homes and writing down the addresses, and then she would then contact a realtor or real estate agent to find more information on the home. So we finally got into a home when I was about 7, but those are the things I remember. But again, I don't see a lot of people doing that anymore because the accessibility to web leads and, the accessibility to homes on the web. So hopefully you enjoyed that little story. So let's go to our second goal. And that is, again, no matter your goal or the changes you make for better conversions, you will always have potential blockages in your funnel, which will slow contacts down going through the funnel, or in this case of some lead sources, you might have suspects or leads spilling out of the top of the funnel. That happens a lot when you dump a lot of money into Facebook ads or Google ads, you start to fill that top of the funnel. But if there's a blockage point, they're going to start spilling out and they're not going to get through. And this is the most important thing you could start to work on to help improve your conversion rates of these valuable contacts. But I want to say this is but before completely destroying everything and redesigning your sales process or increasing spend on cold leads, what if I asked you, what is stopping you from increasing your transactions by 10x? Go ahead and write in that comments field or the questions field. What's stopping you from increasing your transactions by 10x? I'm going to turn my webcam on so you can see me. Everyone can see me, I'm sure. Anybody? What's stopping you? If I went to your office and you said, John, really want you to come by the office and have a look at these suspects for us here on this funnel. We want to grow 10x. We want 10x transactions. What would you say if I asked you what's stopping you from that? Not enough inventory. Good point. A boss who isn't very, well, we won't go into that one. Number of leads. Okay, so filling the top of the funnel. How are you getting all these leads? How are you going to get these new leads, right? And the question is, where's the blockage of getting these new leads? Great points. Systems and processes, response time, great points. These are great points. So again, if I came to your office and we sat down for a cup of coffee, and I had you, sorry, my mouse is not working that well. I'll get off the screen because I'll start moving around. You know, basically, if I asked you, how are you going to get 10x transactions? We might start developing a funnel that is around your needs, right? The agent-centric funnel is what we call it. And I learned a lot when I went to the National Association of Realtors conference. What is going on with my mouse today? Here we go. Sorry, folks. So basically what I learned is that you're hoping for your clients or your customers will do something that they're really not motivated to do, right? You saw some of those things here, response time. Maybe they're not really interested in the neighborhood, or maybe they're not really interested in you. I'm not quite sure, but we design funnels based on what we think they want, and we should think in a way that we're not an agent anymore. We're actually the buyer. So this comes back to the problem that we were talking about earlier, is that you design the funnel the way you wanted it to work, but not around the customer, or in this case, the home buyer wants to. So basically, we also do this here at Realvolve. We sometimes get wrapped up in everyone wants a free trial, or everyone doesn't want to talk to a sales rep, but we need to get inside their heads. We need to get inside people's heads. So how do you do that? So this next example I'm going to show you is how you get inside their heads. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Facebook Live and Periscope. And so before I landed here at Realvolve, I worked for a live streaming company called Wowza. They were basically the backbone technology. They are the backbone technology of Facebook Live and Periscope. And it's a really cool technology and service. So long story short, we had about 1,000 NCAA schools that were interested in live streaming, whether it would be a sports event, musical, lecture, you name it. And they were really interested in streaming technology. But when someone asked if we had these people in our funnel to start marketing to them about our cool live streaming technology, we didn't have all the email addresses, because what was happening, we were offering a case study on how to do live streaming. And when we offered this download, the download rate actually dropped 7 times when we started asking for an email. And of course, you're saying, well, duh, no one wants to get spammed. So we needed to really rethink what we call the friction points in the funnel. So what were the friction points and the concerns of people given an email address? So here's a model that I think you'll find very valuable in identifying the blockage points. There are two factors: friction. So what's the friction in the funnel? So the arrows are pointing back up to the funnel because you have the potential of pushing people out of the funnel. And what's the concerns? What are the concerns of that person giving you an email address? What are the concerns for a person that would not want to give an email address or additional information on a listing that they just found on your website or somewhere else? So again, what's the friction and what are the concerns associated with this person that are going to be coming to your website and coming to your listing and trying to find a solution for them? So you have two options in dealing with this problem. What we could do is redesign the step in the funnel, or alternatively, we could come up with a motivation that is big enough to basically pull them through the funnel. What is that motivation? So in the case of the live streaming piece, what we decided to do is we decided to offer a free trial. And with that free trial, we offered the opportunity of 5 hours of live streaming for universities that could then deploy this stream into the cloud. And that was included in the free trial. So 5 hours of live streaming, what they call on premises, to beam up into the cloud, which would then pull them through the funnel and reduce that friction and reduce those concerns. And when we started to do this, we started to see higher conversion rates. And again, this was part of our offering. This was part of our what we call software as a service. So basically the motivator was to pull them through the funnel, give them 5 hours of live streaming, and basically have them deploy into the cloud. And that is our service. Therefore, it was easier for them to convert to a paying customer. But let's switch gears here, because I know not everyone's into streaming and not everyone's into SaaS, but let's go into our example. So every one of you on this call, I believe, faces the problem of how to drive more home buyers to your website or to your listings. And at the end of the day, fundamentally, people are just busy. And the majority of home buyers are online looking for homes, probably doing 10 plus searches before trying to connect with you. So this getting found problem is a bit tricky. So let's take a few moments. All right, so this is our first exercise. Let's take a few moments and brainstorm the possible concerns for our new home buyers from a new home buyer's perspective. So go ahead and jot down some of those concerns. Why aren't people getting to those listings? Why aren't people basically leaving their information on your website? Why aren't you getting found? Can everyone hear me still? I know my voice is going a little bit crazy. So jot some notes down in the questions area or the chat area of why you're not getting found. I could come up with some quick ones here. People don't want to waste time, right? If it's not at the top of the top of Google search, they're not going to waste time trying to find you, right? So here's a couple that I came up with just to speed this along. They don't want to waste time on anything that is not immediately valuable and directly relevant to their needs. Let's talk about schools, daycare. Is it a dog-friendly environment? Is it a dog-friendly community? Hate being sold to. I just want to find a home. I don't want to be called by 10 agents, especially if you go through something like Zillow. There's all these different options to the home buyer now. I could click on all these different listings and find 10 different agents of those listings. If it doesn't come up on the first page on Google search, well, it can't be bothered to look further because I don't have any time. I can't find that agent that was recommended to me. And then Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com have some cool listings, but I want someone that knows my needs and the area. So what would be the motivation to pull them through the funnel. So exercise, now let's brainstorm possible motivators. In the case of time, here are some of the potential motivators. I do have a problem to solve and would love to find a home. And my friends recommend this agent, then I'll want to check them out and I'll be favorably disposed towards them, right? Repeat and referral. I'm really interested in learning about the area and the history of this town. I trust the review of this agent. The agent seems to be motivated around buyer needs. Looks to be warm and inviting. This agent's listing is at the top of Google. So how do you get to the top of Google? I'm not talking about the top of Google. I'm talking about the first page of Google. So I live in Stapleton, Colorado, Denver, just outside Denver. So this is a cool example I want to show you to help support the concepts of removing the friction and concerns that build motivators to pull people through the funnel. As I was building this presentation, I wanted to find an example that anyone on this call can think about going forward. So I went to Google and I searched Stapleton listings, right? Because we moved to Stapleton about 3 years ago. And this was what was interesting that I found. So when I Googled Stapleton listings, Stapleton homes for sale, Stapleton, Denver, Colorado, real estate listings, check out what's in the, what is called the URL, Stapleton listings. So I was pulling up my search term and then look at this description, very warm and inviting. What will you love most about Stapleton? It's hard to say. Hey, they got a Saturday's farmer's market. My kids love going to that, by the way. But what's going to happen next is exactly what we are talking about today. Let's click and see what happens, all right? So yeah, this draws me in. This is really awesome. Let me click on it and see what happens. Boom, landing page. Welcome to Stapleton. Pretty awesome. Giving me an opportunity to request some more info, giving me some schools in the area, the walking score, the transit score, which is big in Denver right now, really trying to improve local transit, public transit. But look how they're leading with this landing page. They're not leading with the listings. They're leading with something that's warm, inviting, and is solving my problem of finding a house in Stapleton. Underneath that are the actual listings. And when you click on one of these, I can't click on them now because I don't have them going to the pages, but basically, when you click on one of these listings, this realtor or a real estate agent actually has created landing pages for every listing. It's pretty awesome. So what's very clear though, is that we can learn a lot from this exercise. There's a lot of high value delivered from my search. The meta description, that's the little description of the landing page. That was I don't know if you saw here, this is what it is. This is called the meta description here. So this meta description was pulling my search term of Stapleton, and then also in the URL I had Stapleton listings, but what's really cool is that's warm and inviting, and it's creating a pull mechanism for me to go through this person's funnel. I didn't have to search long and hard for it. It was actually at the top of Google. And there were calls to action that I showed. So I'm giving 2 thumbs up for motivators. I don't have any concerns. And I trust this agent quickly. So if people can trust you faster, you're more likely to do business. They're more likely to do business with you. But it's very, very, very clear that this agent, this business, is what is called a microfunnel. And with that said, that is one of the best ways that you can find your blockage points, is to kind of take a step back from the high level view and kind of dive a little bit deeper into that funnel. So for example, what I was showing you are those landing pages can create a lot of opportunities for you moving forward, and it can create the opportunity for a microfunnel. So let's take a look at our third goal for today, microfunnels. And so I want you to understand the dynamic between microfunnels and how they can lead to better clients for your business. On the right side, I'm not going to go into extreme depth with it, but as you can see, the contact cross section, this is in Realvolve, And as you notice, there's suspect at the bottom. Our goal is to help you move your suspects to prospects to leads to clients to past clients. But look at the top. See that? Are they aware of you? Do they know you? Do they like you? And do they trust you? That's a microfunnel. Also, you see the contact source. You can set up funnels in your business based on contact source, whether it's a web lead, open house, etc., Facebook ad, etc. So take these key steps within your funnel. If you want to move suspect to prospect or aware to know, and break them down into little micro steps. And those micro steps can identify main bottlenecks in your funnel or potential huge blockage points in your main funnel. Just basically repeat the process that we went through. What's the concern? What's the friction? And how do I create motivators? So, and if I do create those motivators, what is it that I need to get better outcomes? What is it that I need from maybe my processes internally to enable people and enable my business to simplify pulling people through the funnel? We call those workflows here at Realvolve. And all microfunnels are basically is a process-oriented approach. Remember, I told you I was a big process dude in the pharmaceutical industry, where all that stuff, all those processes are regulated. So we really needed to figure out the inputs, the process, and those outcomes that we wanted. And we would kind of start with the goal, the end in mind, and work backwards. So let's look at that landing page example again, because I really want to hone in on this microfunnel workflow process approach. So here's a little, I call it a process flow diagram. In Realvolve, these are kind of our, what we call workflows. And the microfunnel that I kind of drew out based on my experience with the landing page was basically creating these, what we call if this, then that scenarios, IFTTT scenarios. So I'll repeat that. So if somebody comes to my landing page, then I need to what? Remember, I told you I'm very into behavioral marketing. So again, what is going to motivate people to be pulled through my funnel rather than being pushed out the top? So at the top, you can see this is that initial visit to the property page. And if you remember from the landing page I showed you, there are several different, what we call in marketing, calls to action. You want the visitor to do something. So there's the option of schedule a showing. There's the option of find out more, or they want more information. They might bounce from that page, or they might subscribe to your e-newsletter or a physical newsletter. So why this microfunnel really works is that all the concerns and blockage points have been identified. So going back to that landing page example, the landing listing page provides 4 motivators. So this is creating that if they schedule a showing, what do I do? Right? You're going to follow up. Maybe you send an internal notification, a little bell goes off in Realvolve. Hey, I got a new lead. They scheduled a showing with me. Maybe they want to find out more. What are you going to do? Are you just going to let that lead sit there? Because you put a lot of work into removing the friction and the concerns. Now you have a motivator, and you've just created that motivator, and they took action. Well, what if they just bounce from the page? Are you exporting your lists from Realvolve and then retargeting them with Facebook ads? And those Facebook ads are not necessarily the previous listing that initially drew them in. It's a different listing. That's why that Stapleton page has multiple listings. When I clicked on one of them, I all of a sudden, within hours, I was on Facebook checking out and sharing all my kids' hockey stuff, and all of a sudden the listing pops up. But it wasn't the same listing, but it was in Stapleton. So you could do that, and you could drive it to another landing page, and then the process repeats itself down here. All right? Or the schedule a newsletter. how are you going to deliver that newsletter? So these are all the if this is going to happen, then what are you prepared to do? And is your CRM set up to do that? You need those enablers. So let's take a simple example. So I go to the landing page, I fill out, want to meet more. So basically in Realvolve, we have what are called workflows, makes it smoother. So you could set up a workflow that triggers that automatic introduction email. And these are fully customizable. So this is to use with a contact, by email marketing. I just got your info. I'd love to learn more. So what we have is that you can actually use the primary contact name, first name. You want to use last name, or whatever they used to get into Realvolve. That's what's going to pop here. So very, very straightforward, quick. And what we like to do is we like to follow up immediately, not within, well, maybe within 5 minutes. So you can also send an automatic text message out of Realvolve. You can also customize this. Here it is. Hi, so-and-so, Dale here from A Best Realty and Company. I got your info. I'm tied up at the moment, but I'd like to connect over the phone soon. When's the best time to reach you? And this is what it would look like on their phone being sent from Realvolve. But we just don't stop there. Let's then set reminders that I want to follow up with this person within a few days with a phone call. So you could set tasks to call a new lead in Realvolve, and you could create tasks that you put into this workflow. And so let's look at this task here. So for the second follow-up, the second follow-up, double up, I'm going to call Bruce Wayne on April 5th. And I have several options here when I do connect with them. So I have 3 options. So again, if I connect with them, maybe I don't want to send that follow-up email, so I'm not going to click that. If I do, if I had to leave a voicemail and I don't connect with them, I can send an email that is more structured around, I just left you a voicemail. If I do connect with them, then I want to send a great speaking to you next steps. So I'm going to select that, run my workflow. It brings me to the email. I can then personalize it, customize it, and this is boilerplate. So what you could do is actually write in what to expect next and go from there. And then I just send the email and off it goes. So that's just one example with our powerful, powerful workflows. And I want to introduce you to your new marketing assistant or your new assistant. Workflow templates, we got just a plethora of different ways to design a workflow template. You could do it for data entry, checklists, email templates, which I showed you, SMS templates, which I showed you. And then you could do task templates, which I also showed you with regards to reminders. So we call this the 4 Ds. Now, what separates us from the rest of them is that most CRMs that want to drive their funnel or help drive your funnel, they're only kind of based on time delays and specific dates. But we go a step further. Remember I talked about behavioral marketing, behavioral decision points. Remember the landing page example. Those decision points that you're presenting to your lead to convert them better, to pull them through the funnel, create those motivators, reduce the friction, reduce the concerns. Those decision points, choose what happens next from a list of different options. And then finally, over here, once you've completed that, what's the next activity? How are you going to space this out? How are you going to space out those contact points? Okay, very, very robust, but also based on your approach and how you design your funnel or your micro funnel moving forward. So what is the goal? I talked to you about this before. 88% of the business is from repeat and referral business, but there are opportunities at each step of the funnel to create contacts that like and trust you, which is a must for any real estate agent. And then I wanted to show you kind of a sneak peek of what we actually changed in Realvolve for those of you that are customers. Basically, we have started to segment the contact cross-section for you. When you turn the filter on, This is showing who you should call. All right. And then when you switch the filter off, come on, hand, there you go. This is showing you the health of your database. So who are you going to call, and who aren't you going to call? So again, your micro funnel could be, the first step of your micro funnel is to move people from aware to know, to like, and to trust. So that said, let's summarize the steps to an optimized funnel and transform you to a super agent. All right. So in summary, we talked about a lot of cool things. All funnels have blockage points. I do want to mention, when you do remove one of them, let's say you do create those landing pages, what's going to happen is that you might find a blockage point in your automation. You might find a blockage point in your email marketing. You might find a blockage point in how you nurture these clients to past clients, or trying to get referrals or repeat business. The second piece is blockages are based on our hopes a lead will convert and take steps even though they are not adequately motivated to do. So again, that's why I keep going back to the landing page scenario, where if I was just searching around, could be clicking on listings, and that's not really motivating. But when I saw that information, it was solving problems for me. So the blockages are really based on some of our hopes, where we need to take a step back and get inside our customers' heads. And when you analyze these concerns and think outside the box, I didn't think, at first when I was researching for this presentation, I was trying to come up with a great example for a micro funnel and how to dive deeper into the funnel to convert people, to improve my conversion rates or your conversion rates. And it's like, I'm in marketing, why can't I find anything? And so I just did that simple search and found those landing pages. And I thought, what that real estate agent did is really outside the box. I really enjoyed researching those elements, and I was really excited to share those with you today. When you understand those motivators, it's a lot easier to convert leads and optimize. And then those micro funnels have the potential to convert more leads for repeat and referral business. And finally, when you understand your micro funnels, you can build workflows to pull people through your funnel from top to bottom. So I promised the bonus offer. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to email sales@realvolve.com, and in the subject line, I want you to put, I want the 3 lead response workflow. Now, for those of you that aren't a customer yet, we'll send you a potential invite to meet with one of our sales specialists. And then if you're not on a free trial, I'll definitely make sure to send you the link to start a free trial, free for 14 days, no credit card required. Give you a good opportunity over the slow times to kind of play around, maybe create some workflows for yourself, throw in, Bruce Wayne and Derek Jeter or Wonder Woman, whatever you want, to test out some of the elements of building microfunnels. So again, just our bonus offer, what it is, it's the 3 lead response workflows. It's 3 workflows, 15 templates valued at $299, and a quick description there. So look at that, 11:45. Wow, I clocked in a little bit earlier today than I did yesterday with my dress rehearsal. I turned my little camera back on. Any questions on this material? I know it's probably really new. Oh, okay, Melissa, thanks for asking the question. Can you explain the new update with the contact cross-section on the dashboard? I will actually send you a link to our help article. There's also a video from our Chief Innovation Officer, Mark Stepp. He just produced a video. So we're really trying to put together the content to help support any questions you might have around the contact cross-section. So basically, when you click on the filter, in general, it's showing you who you should contact and who you shouldn't. And then when it changes to the blue color spectrum, this is the overall contact cross-section of your full database. Correct. Melissa, the question, Realvolve does not offer landing pages. That's correct, because we want to be careful to say, when you start creating landing pages, you should be creating them in a way that's best for your visitors. And right now, if we offered you landing pages, they would be in something of our mind of how they would look, more marketing feel. But what I could tell you is that this is a big item that we're discussing as a leadership team, and we are looking at the development opportunity to offer something like landing pages moving forward. I know it's a topic of discussion weekly with the leadership team. I sit on the leadership team, and we do discuss next technology upgrades. So one thing you can do is go to our Facebook community, the Realvolve community on Facebook, and there's an opportunity to share your ideas around what's the next big thing for Realvolve. And we have our developers on there. We have our chief technical officer, Rohan, on there. And he takes that feedback in, and we have a really awesome process. I'm processing those requests for new features. Any other questions? Was this recorded? Michael, yes, this was recorded, even though I was switching back and forth from my camera. We will be downloading the recording here shortly. We'll get an email out to everyone that registered that they can check out the video. Will the webinar be available for replay? Absolutely. We will get this out to you shortly. It takes a few minutes based on the file size, but we'll definitely get it out to everybody. I set up a basic workflow and listened to all the training videos, but I cannot seem to find more in-depth workflows, such as creating the microfunnels. Okay, so Melissa, why don't we do this? Once we end the webinar, I'll try to touch base with you after this webinar, maybe get a quick call in. You can always fill out a support ticket at the bottom in your account. At the bottom of your account in Realvolve, there's support. You can fill out a support ticket. But we also offer different webinar videos on workflows. I'll send you the links to those webinars. One of them is Kendall Young's Why Workflows Are Going to Rock Your World. She goes over some of those, how to set up almost like a microfunnel for getting a listing meeting or not. What if you don't get the listing meeting? Where do you go? And she explains that pretty well. So I'll send that to you after this. No problem. So if there are any other questions, feel free to jot them down here in the questions area. This was a blast. So just full disclosure, this was my first webinar with Realvolve. I'm sorry about my voice. I hate that I have food allergies, and I'm allergic to my wife's poinsettias, believe it or not. She loves poinsettias. Every year we have about 20 poinsettias in the house. And towards Christmas, I always get this this crazy allergy thing going on. And so hopefully that didn't bother you too much. And obviously you could see I'm very animated because I am passionate about this. And if it just helped you say, never thought of it that way, then I achieved my goal. So hopefully I showed you some of the goals that you can shoot for with your funnels, your micro funnels. And again, we will probably rerun this webinar live and go a little bit deeper into microfunnels if that is some interest to you. It sounds like it is. So I really enjoyed my time with you today. I appreciate your time, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye for now.